Hi, my name's Ryan, and I'm going to give you more detailed information about applying to Jacobs University. Hopefully, I'll be able to answer some of the many questions you have. Feel free to skip around to different parts of the video to find the answers you need. So here is what I'm planning to do: go through the application process and our requirements, the review process, the decision and scholarship notification, and then some relevant information on testing and COVID-19. So let's get started. The application process first. What we're looking for you to do in the application is really showcase your talent, tell us your personal story, and highlight your goals. Jacobs University has a holistic application process. This is something I'll repeat a few times. We really want to look at the whole you, to see that yes, you are a good student with good academic and professional potential, but also that you're well-rounded, you're highly motivated, you have good character, you like to get involved, and you're a good fit for our international mindset. So try your best to use your application to do those things. This slide has a lot of information, and I'll just highlight a few things. We do have a few different application cycles. One important one is the early decision deadline of November 1st, because that one is binding if you are admitted to Jacobs. Most importantly, we have rolling admission from September of each year until June 1st. June 1st is the deadline if you need a visa to study in Germany. July 20th is the deadline if you do not need a visa to study in Germany. As you can see, the icon for the Common App, our application is an online application through the Common App, and there is no charge, there is no application fee. If you look at number 4, if you are admitted to Jacobs and you would like to enroll, you will need to pay a 500 euro enrollment deposit and fill out our enrollment form. And then if you look at number 6, our courses start on September 1st. After our August orientation each year. Now on to the application requirements. So these are the different areas that we look at to really try to get a picture of who you are. And I will go into each one of those a bit more. So on the academic side, yes, you submit your transcript or transcripts. And we like to see that you've taken rigorous courses in high school. If your high school has IB courses available, A-level courses, AP courses, honors courses, we like to see that you've attempted to challenge yourself and you've taken those courses, especially most recently in your 11th or 12th or 13th years. And then we look at the performance in those courses in the grade trend. Have you remained consistent throughout your high school career, or have you constantly improved? We certainly don't want to see that in your first years you were getting the highest possible grades and then there was a decline. We like to see either constant improvement or constant success. We also like to compare your grades relative to others in your school. So did you finish as the first in your class rank, or the second? And how does that compare with the size of your school? Were you number 2 out of 20, or were you number 2 out of 300? 2 out of 300 is a bit more impressive. Now, because we have a holistic admissions approach, we do not have minimum grade requirements. We do not have minimum scores, but oftentimes students ask about our averages. So if you are on the 4.0 scale, our students fall between 3.7, 3.5 on average, 85 to 89 on the 100% scale, B+ to A- for Abitur students in Germany, 1.6 to 2.0, and then IB of 35 to 38. And we look at your transcripts for a minimum of the last 2 to 3 years, plus your school profile to get an idea about your academic achievements. How do we look at your motivation? This is mainly done through your writing and the writing of your references, your recommenders, which I'll talk more about in a few minutes. We have 4 different writing prompts plus the essay. And this is really your opportunity to tell us your personal story, for you to be creative, for you to inspire us. So these are the short answer questions that we ask. about Jacobs University itself, what you like about it, what you like about the program that you've chosen to apply to, your major. And then we have a diversity question because we are a very diverse school and we want to know how you think you would fit into that. And then something that is interesting to you, and this is your part to be the most creative, to maybe provide a collage, a drawing, some additional text that you've written, another way to show us who you are. So the essay, here are a few recommendations for the essay. Have you hooked us in? Have you started strong? Does it really describe who you are? Have you shown creativity? Is it your story? Is it original? Is it unique? Some things to watch out for. You definitely want to make sure that you've used good grammar, spelling, punctuation. It might be a good idea to have someone or a few people read it over, make sure the English is very good. Try not to overuse the thesaurus. Sometimes you may be using words that don't fit so well or don't sound that good. Really show us and don't tell. Try really not to be cliche. And don't just tell us what you think we want to hear. Tell us what you think we should know about you. As far as the short answers, don't just quote the Jacobs brochure. Don't just tell us things that we already know. Tell us why you want to come here and why you really like the program that you've chosen. And don't steal someone else's ideas. We really want this to come from you so it shows us who you are. All right, back to the recommendations. So you are required to provide at least one. Now, some students choose to provide additional recommendations, which is certainly good. These need to come from either a counselor, a dean, a school administrator or advisor, or a subject teacher. It really should be someone that knows you well, someone that has known you for at least a year, maybe 2 or 3 years. And in it, they should talk about your academic performance and potential, about your character, about what you've been involved with, and maybe include some very short personal anecdotes to demonstrate who you are and what you have done. Usually they're about 1 page long. Most of your counselors and teachers are already familiar, so they can tell us about you in about 4 paragraphs. And really choose someone that you think is going to say positive things about you. Extracurriculars. We want to see that our students are well-rounded. We want to see that you're involved. Have you done volunteer work? Have you joined clubs and organizations? Have you proven your leadership skills or attempted to develop them? Have you gained work experience? What skills and talents do you have outside of the classroom? This is your opportunity to tell us about those things. So for each one that you list, very briefly, what did you accomplish? Why was it important to you? Did you receive any recognition? Did you get an award for that activity or in that club? And you put these in the activities and additional information sections of the Common App. On to English proficiency. So yes, all of our programs are taught in English. So you have to prove that you have the English skills to succeed in university level courses taught in English. And you have several ways to do that. We accept a number of different tests. On the last slide, I'm going to give you a QR code that takes you to our applicant FAQ page that lists about a dozen different ways to prove your English proficiency. 2 of the most popular may be TOEFL and Duolingo, and both of those offer online options at this time, which is very convenient. If you are an English native speaker, and there are about 7 or 8 countries in the world that have English as their native language, you are not required to provide an English proficiency test. If you attend an international school or you go to a school where the primary language of instruction is English and you've been at that school for 6 or more years, you get an English proficiency waiver. Another good way to fulfill the requirement, if you are already taking the SAT or ACT, and for the SAT on the evidence-based reading section, you get a 600 or higher, or on the ACT writing, you get a 9 or higher. that qualifies for fulfilling the English proficiency requirement. Or if you are an A-level student, you could also do it through your British GCSE results of an A or B, or IB English A or English A, Lang, and Lit with a 6 or 7 fulfills our requirement for English proficiency. Standardized testing, yes, we do require an entrance exam, the SAT or ACT, and we do accept super scores. So if you take, say, the SAT more than once, and on one test you got a 680 on the math, and on another test you got a 750 on the math, then we can take your highest math score and combine it with your highest reasoning score. And if you want to have these sent directly to Jacobs and added to your application, those are the codes that you can provide to the College Board or to ACT. And once again, since we have a holistic application process, we do not have a minimum score requirement. You don't need to have a certain SAT score. If you're curious about the averages, though, last year we had an SAT average of about 1,200 and an ACT of 25. Now, there are some students, but only about 5% of our applicants that qualify for a standardized test waiver. They do not need to take a test, and those are the German Abitur students, or students that have the equivalent of the German Abitur, which is some IB, A-level, or AP students, but it takes a very specific course combination to get the waiver. And oftentimes major specific admission. So you have to know what major you want to apply to, and you do not have the flexibility to change majors if you get major specific admission. So general admission with a standardized test gives you that flexibility to change. Now, again, the standardized testing waiver is not very common. Only about 5% of our applicants qualify. And we have to review your transcript and your specific coursework to determine if you qualify for that. All right, so once you have submitted, be sure to check your emails. You will have an application dashboard that will show your status and any missing documents. If there are still things you need to submit to finalize your application, these are the ways to do that. I must highlight the fact that we cannot accept official documents sent directly from the student. You cannot email us your transcript, for example. The transcript has to be uploaded to the Common App by a school counselor, or you could send original documents sealed and received with a stamp via the regular post, via the mail, or a certified copy sealed and received via post. Or a school counselor, school administrator could email it to admissions in an electronic PDF from their official school email address. These are the only possible ways to submit official documents to us. All right, the review process. So after your application is complete, you will get an email that says you have finalized your application. Please give us time to process your documents in your application. So if you submit a document to us today, please don't expect that to be reflected in your application tomorrow. Please give us at least 5 to 7 business days to process your documents and finalize your application. Now, once your application is finalized, we will review it and give you your decision in 2 to 4 weeks, 2 to 4 weeks after your application is finalized. So when we look, again, that holistic review is going to look at all of these things. The strength of your current and predicted grades, the rigor of your coursework. I talked about this. Have you taken those IB courses, A-level courses, AP courses, honors courses? Your writing and your motivation. Are you well-rounded? Have you gotten involved in extracurriculars? Do you have special talents? How did you do on your standardized test? If you plan to study engineering or math, for example, did your scores on the SAT show that you have the math skills to succeed at the university level in a major like that? will you contribute to the vitality of our campus? Have you demonstrated that you appreciate multiculturalism, that you will bring something special to our unique university? Other evidence of achievements. Have you received specific awards? Have you been recognized for amazing things that you've done? Are there extenuating circumstances in your life? Have you had to endure hardship and overcame that and become a stronger person? Are you a first generation university student? Things like that we also consider.
Okay, decision time. Be sure to check your emails, stay up to date in your email and your application dashboard. And then 2 to 4 weeks after we tell you your application is complete, you will get your decision between 2 and 4 weeks. We will send you an email with a link to your letter. You'll also be able to find your admission letter on your VIP page. And if you get in, a big congratulations to you. Later that day or within 24 hours, we will also send you your first finance offer, and that will tell you whether or not you have earned one of our academic achievement scholarships. So you find out right away if you've gotten 4,000, 6,000, or 8,000 euros per year towards your Jacobs tuition. And that's based strictly on your GPA. It's a scale, so if you are an A or a B student, you will most likely get a scholarship. We also will tell you, we will give you your visa application letter. You'll be able to find that on your VIP page, as well as information on applying for a visa to study in Germany if you require one. Be sure to pay attention to the enrollment deadline that you can find in your admission letter. By that deadline, we would like you to submit your enrollment acceptance form and a 500 euro enrollment deposit to hold your spot for the fall.
A few quick things about testing in COVID-19. Some good options for English proficiency are to take online tests such as the Duolingo or TOEFL Special Home Edition, as I mentioned before. We cannot waive the standardized testing requirement. We cannot go test optional. It is a state mandate that we have an entrance exam. So what can you do if your test center has closed or if your test has been canceled? At this time, you can finalize your application without a standardized test. You can request that we review it, and you could get a conditional admission, but still needs to take a standardized test at a later date in order to enroll. So by May of this year, if you choose to enroll for fall, you still will need to sit for the SAT or ACT, but you could get your admission decision before taking the test. All right, a few things to point out is that we are a need-blind university, so our admissions process is not at all based on your family's financial situation. The only time we look at your financial situation is after admission, if you choose to apply for financial aid, if you choose to apply for a need-based grant, and that is completely separate from our admissions process. We certainly care about you and your education. We want to support you in the application process. So if you have questions, feel free to reach out to us. We know that you are human, and we want you to really try to demonstrate that through your application and really show us who you are. So if you have questions, first and foremost, please check out our applicant FAQ page. There's a QR code. If you have general questions, feel free to reach out to our study@, email address. If you have specific questions about your application, you can reach out to the admission@ email address. Thank you.